And so, Eric and Greg, as we remember those who died in the terror attacks that changed our country forever 20 years ago today, we must never forget the thousands of U.S. servicemen and women who have made the ultimate sacrifice in the war against terrorism. Lieutenant Colonel Daniel Davis, now retired, was twice deployed in Afghanistan. He is now Senior Fellow at Defense Priorities, also the author of 11th Hour in 2020 America. He joins us now. Colonel Davis, thank you. If I could get personal right off the bat and ask you, what were your thoughts, your personal thoughts when you woke up this morning, September 11th, 2021?
I think sobering is probably the nicest thing I could come up with, because I remember so distinctly, like probably most of Americans who were alive at the time, on September 11th, 2001. I was actually a reserve officer at the time and working as a civilian in Dallas, Texas. Was riveted to the TV like everybody else, and was mobilized to active duty shortly thereafter to the Pentagon. And it was still, wrecked from the bombing while I was working there every day. And then 10 years ago, on the 10th anniversary, I was in Kunar province in a small ceremony talking about the 10-year anniversary, which seemed so long at the time. And then now today, 10 years after that, that the enemy that we were fighting for all that time has prevailed. And now then they're back again in control of all that. And I, of course, think about the individuals, the troopers that I personally knew that died in the war, the thousands of others, the hundreds of thousands of PTSD and post-traumatic stress disorder. And it's just really grievous to think now that all that we sacrificed for, all the blood, all the treasure, all the time, and now that it's as though we didn't even go into the country.
Yeah, and we definitely cannot forget. We can never forget those invisible wounds from the war. So, to your point, while we're always honoring our military heroes, including you, of course, many Americans are trying to come to grips with what to make of what's happening in Afghanistan today. I mean, what do you tell them, and also how do you reconcile with Afghanistan today?
Well, I think that there needs to be a recompense and a deepest analysis of exactly what went on and what happened and who knew what when. Because, look, we could have gotten out of here several times before and avoided so many of these casualties. I mean, President Bush could have gotten us out in the summer of 2002 when the Taliban had been wiped out and there was no Taliban to be worried about. So the Afghans could have formed their own government. President Obama could have gotten us out, should have gotten us out in sometime after 2011, after Osama bin Laden had been killed. And again, the Taliban had just a small number of outlying districts. The government would have had a chance to actually stand on its own. Yeah. But because no one was willing to get out, and even President Trump tried to get us out, but he was thwarted by so many of the military officers who pushed against it. And now then when Biden finally did it, the rot that had been created over so many years, both within the Afghan military and government, was now you couldn't hide it anymore. And so it was much, much worse than it needed to be. And that's what I think we need to investigate, to find out why didn't it happen earlier when we could have done it under better conditions.
Definitely a complex situation. If I can get just 20 seconds, what is your desire for how we proceed from this day as a nation, the United States of America?
Look, let's learn the lesson that just leading with the barrel of a gun is not the only way to do business. Let's defend ourselves without any hesitation or equivalency, but then let's look for other ways to stay safe long term.
And to remain together as a nation. Lieutenant Colonel Daniel Davis, thank you very much for joining us. Take care, sir.
Thank you.